It's Messi, who is everywhere. All over the newspapers. What's the main one say in the middle, Ali?
What's that?
No te vayas, campeón.
Don't leave, champion.
Don't leave a champion. Of course, the speculation as to whether or not he will be in the World Cup next year. And if you go by stats alone, then he really should be, of course. Argentina looking good with Lionel Messi at the heart of everything. This in qualifying, 8 goals, 3 assists, more than any other player, not only for Argentina, but in the whole of CONMEBOL. So this is it, Ali, and this is the question, isn't it? Is he going to play in the World Cup?
I think he is. Now, I couldn't tell you 100%, because a lot of this is going to depend, of course, on the level of fitness for Lionel Messi. And what we have seen over the last few years is that fitness is an area of concern. But I must tell you, there's been some signs from Lionel Messi, some emotion, some reactions from Lionel Messi that kind of give you a rare look, inside look into what he feels and what he thinks. And to see him in tears ahead of this match, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's obviously him knowing full well that this is the last time that he will wear the Argentina national team jersey in a World Cup qualifier in Argentina. We know that for certain. But he also knows that things are coming to an end, and each one of these cycles that he's going through as he gets to the World Cup is closing a door on something. And every time he closes one of those doors, there seems to be this reaction coming from Lionel Messi. I think he's going to be in the World Cup. We also had Scaloni in the press conference leading up to this match getting emotional about Lionel Messi and getting emotional about this being that game that I just mentioned, how important this occasion would be. If Lionel Messi is fit and if he's healthy, he will be in the World Cup. But I think he himself has doubts that that could be the case, because he has seen what his level of fitness has become over the last year, year and a half, and how troubling and tricky it has been for him to be ready when he counts the most. And when he counts the most, it would be the 2026 World Cup.
To that point, though, am I right in thinking, obviously, he'll be with Inter Miami still next season? Mm-hmm. So he could pretty much work his schedule around... It's not... You're not playing for a top European side that are demanding the top from you every single weekend.
And I've been saying this all along, and Inter Miami fans may not want to hear this, but as much as Inter Miami are getting a lot from Lionel Messi is getting what he wants out of Inter Miami. And so when he needs the repetition, when he needs the games, when he needs the rest, he's the one that gets to decide that. And he's deciding based upon one thing and one thing only. And that has to be, I need to be at my best level for Argentina in the 2026 World Cup. And what do I need to do in order to make that happen? Now, if that happens to coincide with the interest of Inter Miami, so be it. But if it doesn't, I still think that the priority for Lionel Messi is Argentina, Inter Miami second.
Should he play in the World Cup?
He should be at the World Cup. You know, when you get to the latter stages of your career, when you're 38, 39, then things do start going. And then you do start questioning yourself. But when you have the ability that he has, why would you not have him coming off the bench?
So why is the conversation slightly different to the one that we have about Cristiano Ronaldo and the World Cup?
Because Messi
quite a few people have come on here and said that Roberto Martinez missed the trick, basically. He should have had the guts to drop Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, because I have not heard one person say, well, Messi's past that. Or Messi can't do this. Or Messi's not doing that now. Not one person have I heard say that.
But you feel that Ronaldo is?
I can tell you a million. Absolutely. Listen, they're two completely different footballers. Ronaldo, as great a finisher as he is, a great footballer as he is, relies a lot on the physical side of the game. Messi doesn't rely as much on the physical side of the game. He does his damage in little tight areas in little split seconds, picking a pass and putting the ball in the net. They're completely different players. And that's the reason. So you got one who's coming to the end of his career who doesn't rely so much on the physical side, but clearly...
But Ronaldo is still doing it. If you look at his stats for Portugal over the last 12 months, I think he's exceeded expectations in that sense.
Well, let's get the bones of it. Ronaldo should not be starting for Portugal. You surely, even you, have to agree that Ronaldo should not be starting for Portugal.
I'm not paid to have an opinion. I just ask questions.
Well, it's funny you forget that now and again. We are not saying that about Lionel Messi. We are not saying that he shouldn't be starting for Argentina. So the fact that he is, and he's shown no signs in an Argentina jersey of wavering on the international stage, means that he should be there. I don't think there's any argument.
And the other thing that we know, that we're not making it up, we have seen it on the field, is that the structure of Argentina around Lionel Messi is so strong that it gives him the ability and the freedom to provide the moment of magic that he can still provide Argentina. And that's why it's so difficult for Scaloni to let go. Because, and not only Scaloni, but the players as well, they know that he can still provide a moment of magic. And I know it's just Venezuela, but that first goal by Lionel Messi, and in that tight space, with everybody freaking out around him, goalkeeper sliding, defenders flying by, and he still has that genius in him to do what he just did. And I can tell you from experience, because I had the very same chance playing against Argentina in Buenos Aires in a similar situation, goalkeeper coming out, defenders everywhere. And did you think in my head it ever crossed my mind, I'll just dink it? No! No! I tried to power through. And did it work? 9. No, of course it didn't. I see Lionel Messi doing this, and I'm thinking, those little moments of magic are still the reason as to why they're hanging on to him going into the World Cup. Argentina without Messi would still be one of the favorites. With Lionel Messi and the moments of magic, they become a dominant team.
But what it all means, of course, that it is basically a winner-takes-all clash. Venezuela or Bolivia as to who will qualify. Venezuela in action, of course, against Colombia. For Bolivia, they're taking on Brazil. So both teams are taking on sides that have already qualified. You've got a point ahead, Ali. Give us the old Don Hutchinson percentages.
Venezuela playing at home against Colombia, and regardless of whatever happens in World Cup qualifiers over the course of many years, this is our rivalry, Venezuela and Colombia. And even when we were the worst team in CONMEBOL, which we're not now, but when we were the worst, we could still create issues for Colombia, and we have kept Colombia from making it into the World Cup. I hope they don't remember that themselves. I hope they're not hanging on to that. Venezuela at home against Colombia, win, and you hang on to the 7th place. The other thing that you have to root for if you're Venezuela is that Brazil, who are going up to Bolivia, up into altitude, and they're not only playing in La Paz, they're playing in El Alto. So get to La Paz and keep going up. The Brazil and these new players, young players that Ancelotti has brought in, have something to prove to Carlo Ancelotti and actually show up with a standard of play that is required at Bolivia. That's for Venezuela to hang on to the 7th spot. For Bolivia, doesn't have any other hope but to beat Brazil and hope that Venezuela doesn't do enough against Colombia. I'm thinking 60-40 Venezuela. 60-40.
Where are you going to watch it, Ali?
65-35. Huh?
Where are you going to watch it?
Well, at home alone.
It's like saying, ChatGPT, can you write me an apology, please? Because it's exactly what you'd expect. And I don't think we even need to read it.
No, you don't want to read anything today, Dan.
No,
Anybody could write their own, it's him.
Well,
He's had that many opportunities to do it.
It's just like, yeah, okay, right. And then Inter Miami, they came out and they said this, condemns, actions don't reflect, blah, blah, blah. But what we've been waiting for is some actual action from Inter Miami, from MLS, and this is what has happened. Nothing as yet, apart from the League's Cup, where he will be suspended for 6 games. Busquets is out for 2, the Seattle coach. Lenhart's out for 5, Aviles 3. Herculez Gomez has joined us. Herc, right, just put this in layman's terms so people maybe don't follow this as closely. How significant is a League's Cup suspension?
It's not.
Right, okay, no, that's it. We don't need any more. Nothing more from that, Herc. Right, okay, so that doesn't really matter. That 6 number is kind of irrelevant to this conversation, which takes us to the next one. So what have MLS banned him for?
Correct. And in that statement, it says that MLS reserves the right to sanction further. Disciplinary actions can go further. That's if they exercise that right. And that's the big question mark here, because there are very few people out there who really expect MLS to take a stand, to make an example out of Inter Miami, Luis Suarez. And by the way, Sergio Busquets sucker punched a 20-year-old, and he's getting 2 games. And you got Tomas Avila and Steven Lenhart of the Seattle Sounders getting 3 and 5. So make of that what you will. If they wanted to make a stand, if they really did, I think it would go a long way in rebuilding that trust with a lot of hardcore Major League Soccer fans and casual fans who feel that this is no longer Major League Soccer. This is Messi League Soccer. This is Inter Miami and friends. And Inter Miami, to them, is now the villain that gets away with everything. And through the history of Major League Soccer, you've had these super clubs, if you will, that the rules are bent for them. Just a little, but never like this. We've never seen a situation where a team is regardedly hated as much as they are inside and out of the league. You have Suarez, and it doesn't matter what the track record is, but yet again, another stripe to the tiger, as they say. Another one, spitting in the face of an elderly man. Gene Ramirez is plus 70 years old. He's been working security with the Sounders since 2009 for trying to protect Obed Vargas from getting punched. And we're all holding our collective breath. Will they take a stand? It's 6 games right now, but there is precedent. It happened with Clint Dempsey in the Open Cup, where he ripped up the cards of the referee. He got some games in Open Cup, and then he got more games in MLS. It happened with Mike Pecky, a coach for the Real Salt Lake, where he got some games in the Open Cup, and then he got some games in Major League Soccer. There are 9 games left. If Major League Soccer had a backbone, the majority of those 9 games would be without Luis Suarez. If they had a backbone, there's still time to act. There really is. But the ball is in MLS's court.
What would you do, Ali, if you were Don Garber?
10 matches.
From MLS?
From MLS. The reason, and not to go further into the explanation, but the reason as to why the Leagues Cup suspension doesn't really matter is because chances are that Luis Suarez will not be around for the next edition of Leagues Cups in 2026. And so it's really irrelevant. It's the definition of irrelevant. Now, as it pertains to Leagues Cup, in the rules and regulation of that tournament, it says, stipulated that spitting or fighting gets you 6 games. At least, bare minimum. So that's already stipulated as it pertains to that tournament. If I'm MLS, I'm taking that as a starting point, as a jump starting point. From there, I build my case. And I say to myself, this man, Luis Suarez, went after Gene Ramirez, who Hercules just established who he is. And this gentleman, Gene Ramirez, was already withdrawing himself from the confrontation. Whatever they had said to each other, he was starting to walk away. And it was Luis Suarez who continued his behavior and essentially chased him down and went through his own goalkeeper, Oscar Ustari, who was holding him back, around him and through him to go and spit on this guy. Which tells me, why do I say 6 games is a jump starting point? That should be the bare minimum, and we work our way up from there. It's because it tells me that you had time to think about this. You had time to walk away. The other person was already walking away. You had time to think about it. It wasn't just a reaction, as Luis Suarez just said on Instagram. It's just an emotional moment. It's just a reaction. No. It wasn't just a reaction. There was plenty of time for you to walk away. Instead, you continue to push forward to go and spit on this man. 6 would be the bare minimum. I'm thinking 10. And with 10, you send a message. And anything above 10, I would be fine. Anything less than 10, I don't think it's enough.
I think I'm with Ali. I think 6 is the bare minimum. And it's an opportunity for MLS and Don Garber to show people that the league itself and the teams and the players and the fans mean more than any one individual.
Right.
And the fact that Luis Suarez has such a high profile means that you have to be seen to be leaning heavily on behaviour like that. So I'm with Ali. I think the bare minimum should be 6, but they should take an opportunity because it's a high-profile guy to make it even worse.
And Ali said minimum 10, but that's right.
But
No,
I would also...
No, he said minimum 10.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He
said minimum 10 because he said the benchmark was set at 6, and he said the minimum should be 10. Any more than 10, I'd be happy. Less than 10, I wouldn't be happy.
Regardless, just as an additional point here, MLS and Don Garber were hell-bent on making themselves public with the statements regarding the suspension of Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba because they did not go to the All-Star game. They could not wait to be out either in front of a camera or putting out statements. Here we are, and they still haven't come forth. MLS hasn't said, this is where we stand on this just yet. So the absence of Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba to the MLS All-Star game, that was a big deal, and this is not. Why hasn't MLS treated this the manner in which it deserves to be treated? The suspension should match the offense, and the offense was great from Luis Suarez, and he should be punished as such.
Why is this taking so long, Herc?
Well, I assume because it was an investigation. And last night, the Instagram from Luis Suarez came about, and then Inter Miami, through their social media, released their statement. Today, the Leagues Cup gave their verdict. They were notified last night. That's what this tells me. They waited 5 days to say something. The final was Sunday. That's how embarrassing this is. For a club that presumes to be big, demand respect. Because we've seen David Beckham get angry at social media accounts in Major League Soccer when they don't show Inter Miami the respect they deserve. They stayed mum. And I'm with Ali here. When it was Messi, when it was about suspending him because it hurt your wallet, because he didn't show up for your media circus, the All-Star game, we're going to suspend him. We're going to fine him. But here, you stay quiet. And to me, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing if you're Luis Suarez. It's embarrassing if you're Sergio Busquets. It's embarrassing if you're Inter Miami. And it's especially embarrassing if you're Major League Soccer. Given the circumstances, they had to wait to see what came about the investigation. But certainly, now they know there's 6 games there. There has to be something that shows fans you're serious. No one player, no one individual, no one team can be above the league. If you really want fans to care about this league, show them you care.
What's expected of you in the United States, the World Cup, as the host nation? I can't score goals. I can't score goals myself, nor can I defend. What the heck is that, Herc?
So I sat through that hour and 29-minute interview, which was great, by the way. And a minute 40 was on the U.S. and U.S. soccer, the U.S. men's national team for Mauricio Pochettino. And I don't know if you guys recalled when Mauricio Pochettino first got the job, how the illusion in his eyes, the hope, the little sparkle, it might have been the $6 million a year, but what are you going to do in the World Cup? We're going to go to win it. And now they ask him, what's expected of you in the World Cup? And he says, hey, I can't score the goals. I can't defend them. It's unbelievable to me where we have gotten today. It just screams of this man's a phony. It's what it screams. He knows how to pander to a crowd. In this interview, they asked him about Espanyol and Barcelona. He had no problem taking shots and pandering to the crowd, saying Espanyol is a much more independent club, catering to the patriotism, catering to the nationalism. And then he said Espanyol is a more Catalan club than Barcelona. He's playing to that crowd. He's giving them something to cheer for. But when it comes to the U.S., hey, let's temper expectations. We're trying to set a culture. What we really want to do is pave the way for the future. Excuse me, Mauricio Pochettino. They didn't hire you to change soccer for the next 60 years. They hired you for a tournament. They hired you to take this next team to the next level. And so far what we've seen is more of a regression. If you were to tell me he knows where he is and who his players are, I would say you're full of it. Because I don't think he's watched any of the previous finals. I don't think he knows any of the equity some of the players that are here right now or who are gone have had with this team. He doesn't know the direction they're going. He doesn't know his 11. He doesn't know the core. And watching this interview, it makes me feel like he doesn't care. What he's trying to tell you, what he's trying to tell us is, hey, if things go south at the World Cup, ain't on me.
It's difficult to argue that, isn't it?
I find it really difficult to explain what was possibly going through his mind when he's answering these questions, because he must have had some sort of idea of what it was going to be about. So at the very least, get your story straight and come out with something that's recognisable as some sense. But he didn't have any answers. He certainly didn't seem as though he was prepared, and he just came across as though he actually doesn't really know what he's doing.
Much like when players go away for national team duty and they are doing podcasts or interviews, and they'll just say all these things about their clubs and about their teams and teammates, thinking that somehow those things are not going to get back to their club and to their teammates and to the other players. This felt similar, as if he's doing this podcast or this show in Spain, and as Hercules is talking about, yeah, he's pandering to the Spanish crowd and to Español and Barcelona, and he's talking about that world. And this was almost as a funny throwaway answer, that he's trying to get cute. As if, like, you don't think we have people that can translate what you're saying? Right? You don't think that we can actually go through this interview and put together what you have said about the United States and how little he expects from this national team? That's what when I watch, it's not only what he's saying, it's how he's saying it. I'm not a body language expert, but it's almost like, hey.
Can you imagine if he said that about Argentina?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if he was in charge of Argentina.
Well, here's the thing. He would never say it about Argentina, because there's jeopardy when you say something like that about Argentina. But there is no jeopardy when he says it about the United States. And so when he's talking about that mentality, that shifting culture, and he's talking about the true football mentality, he knows full well that saying what he just said about the United States, the team that he's coaching, he could not say that about Argentina. He couldn't, and he wouldn't. So he's fully taking advantage of this culture, of this, or lack thereof. He's fully taking advantage of it, and he's giving himself enough space to say whatever he wants because he knows that there are no consequences.
Where is the guidance, Herc?
It's a great question. Matt Crocker? But where's Matt Crocker throughout all this? You know, we've not heard or seen from Matt Crocker or U.S. Soccer when it comes to Mauricio Pochettino in quite some time. I would have loved to have seen, or I hope, that when he took the job, he was fully aware of the program's history. He was fully aware of the Greg Berhalter era. He was fully aware and invested in who could help him, what players could help him, not grasping at straws like he is today. I don't know about you guys. You guys have lived in this country long enough, and you guys have children who play the game in this country or have played the game in this country. I grew up playing the game in this country at a youth level. This screams to me like that youth coach or the youth director that swindled his way onto a club team because he had the accent, because he said he knew the game, and all along looks down upon the American player like, no. And so when he leaves, it's going to be very simple, and they're going to take it at face value abroad. These Yanks don't know anything about soccer. It wasn't really on me. U.S. soccer's a mess. These players aren't good enough, et cetera, et cetera. It's not on Mauricio Pochettino. Look where I've been. I've been at Spurs. I've been at Chelsea, PSG. I'm probably going to be in line if United fire the coach somewhere down the line. That's what I took out of this. It just screamed of, you Yanks know nothing. Because Ali's right. Did you really think what you said wasn't going to come back to this side of the world? He's a big enough profile of a personality, of a coach, to know that his words carry weight. So if he understands that his words carry weight, it tells me that he doesn't care. He doesn't care what happens because he knows he's safe on this side.
And it's all in Spanish. You can't even play it like a second language thing. It's crazy. Is there any chance he won't be in charge at the World Cup?
No, he will be in charge of the World Cup. At this point, I think you are heavily invested if you're the United States. You're elbow deep, knee deep into the Mauricio Pochettino experience, whatever that may be. But to Hercules' point, and it's something that he mentioned earlier, the one thing that he's yet to do, with all this talking and appearances in college football pre-games and this and that and the other, the one thing that he's yet to do is settle on a team. Settle on a team.
We're still got to settle on a team when you don't know their names.
Well, again, settle on a team, on a group of players that you can trust, can handle the pressure of a World Cup, and are able to produce performances when you need them the most. He still doesn't have that answer. And guess what? We're getting closer, and we're getting closer, and meaningful games are not happening. And so what is the next meaningful game for the United States? The game that counts for something. It's going to be at the World Cup. I don't know that that's where you want to be.
You can't
testing
score
things.
goals and you can't defend. So
Well, then there's no problem.
it's all right.
Nothing to see here.
Do you know, I think part of the problem, I think 100% he didn't do his homework and didn't really look at the squad of players that he maybe had in front of him.
Right.
He didn't do enough digging. And I think the other thing as well, he thought, well, it's only going to be 18 months. I'll take him to the World Cup. We'll do fine. We'll get through it. Well, we might even do something crazy, and then I'll move on. And unfortunately, because there's such a short space of time, he can't bail himself. Because if he bails now himself, he looks ridiculous. He looks stupid, and his reputation's in ruins. So, all around, he's made a huge mistake.
Stevie, I don't know about that. I mean, we've heard reports about him, trying to go for the Brentford job. We've heard him talk about Spurs countless times. In this same interview, he's talking about coaching Real Madrid. I don't know any serious club around the world or team around the world that doesn't see this coach or see the man leading the ship talk about others, talk about being elsewhere, and nothing happens. Here, it seems like U.S. Soccer's okay with him talking about potential suitors while he's still the coach of the U.S. men's national team. And most fans today are sophisticated enough to feel hurt by this, to feel like this man isn't the man that should lead this team in the national team or in the World Cup.
It's always good.
But, like Ali says, nothing's going to happen.
It's always good to keep yourself in the news with teams like Real Madrid and all so-called other big teams. And regardless of what team it is in the Premier League, it's still the Premier League. So it's never a bad thing, regardless of whether you're the US team manager or some other country, just to keep yourself in there. I think that's what he's...
It's the voice of experience.
That's always
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
well, but you know what would keep him in the news? Making a deep run in the World Cup.
Well, that would help.
I mean,
Thank you very much, Herc. Much appreciated. Just a reminder, of course, Herc, a regular on Football Americas. You can check out last night's show. Casey, Yanis and Alexis talking more about the US and Luis Suarez. Ukraine 0, France 2 then. Let's just take a look at how Group D looks after that victory for France. Of course, favourites to advance. They're in the group alongside Iceland and Azerbaijan. Iceland with a comfortable 5-0 win today. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we, former French international World Cup winner. Frank Leboeuf joins us. Frank, for those who didn't see the game, tell us about it.
Well, as Ali mentioned it, for 65 minutes, France were the only team on the field. I mean, Ukraine tried, but they couldn't. The first time that I can say that I saw a really very good French team working together, every individual trying to chase, including Kylian Mbappe, chasing the ball when they lost it and everything. That was a real unity. I was a little bit worried at the beginning of the game because you had 4 forwards with Olise, Barcola, Doué, and Mbappe. But they managed to change, situations and positioning together, and it perfectly worked for the first half, mainly 65 minutes, and then we saw Ukraine coming back, and in 2 minutes they could have equalized, and but nothing much happened except Doué's injury and Dembele's injury, which is not a very good news for Paris Saint-Germain. On top of it, I was told that Luis Enrique fell on bicycle, so they have 3 injuries.
Oh dear.
But at the end of the day, Mbappe came back to become the Mbappe that we know, that when he gets the ball and 1 against 1, he's unstoppable. But I have to say that I saw 2 big players today. On top of saying that Upamecano and Konate have been excellent, Tchouaméni in the middle of the park, but especially Michael Olise with his finesse, his hard work for his team, and the talent that he has offensively. Those 2 players have made a difference for France.
You mentioned Mbappe, Frank. What's the narrative been like around him, of course, given what's gone on with him and Deschamps over the last 12 months?
Everything seems to be okay in terms of being the captain. In France, there is an article today that's saying that mostly French people don't like him as a captain. They recognize his talent as a player and what he can achieve, but they don't want to see him as a captain. I think I think we try to make stories about what can go wrong with Mbappe. Today, I saw somebody who tried to work hard. I think he listened to the message that Deschamps is trying to send, that everybody has duties, and Mbappe is trying to do his best. He's going against his natural aspect of the game, of thinking of the game, but he worked hard today today to help his team, and he scored a goal. And I think he just joined Thierry Henry as one of the top scorers with the national team. It says a lot about how effective it can be.
That's it for you today, Frank. You're on extra time as well, though, yes?
Well, hopefully, yes, because I'm listening to you. I listened to you. It was very nice to listen to you guys, but I want to be more involved. That depends to you.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
He's upset with the coach.
So, Italy 5, Estonia 40 shots. What? The floodgates really open.
Will they have a shot?
There were no gates.
So let's just remind you who are in Italy's group. They're, of course, with Estonia, Moldova, Israel and Norway. Italy sit third with 6 points after their 3 matches, chasing Norway at the top. For more on this, let's welcome in Gab Marcotti. Gab, Gab is very much passport photo mode, and we love it. Gab, what did we learn today?
Well, I think above all, we learned that Moldova are not very good. There was a lot of trepidation.
Estonia.
Estonia, even. There was a lot of trepidation about Rino Gattuso's first game in charge because a lot of us had some major doubts about him. But I think he put out what possibly Italy's strongest 11. He went with the 2 strikers. And, man, that first half, they were creating chances. They had a lot of the ball. All that was missing was either the final pass or the finish. And then, as you said, against a team that packs the box the way Estonia do, once you score, once they have to make substitutions, then you have a lot more space to play in. You gain a lot more confidence. And I don't believe I have ever seen an Italian team, let alone the Italian national team, put together, 4.43 expected goals, missed 6 big chances during the game, 40 shots on goal. It's just cut from a different cloth, but it's important because to win the group, they don't just need to win the rest of their games. They also have to go and win the goal difference battle if they want to avoid the playoffs.
You mentioned your reservations about Gattuso, Gab. Are they shared by others?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And I say this, with the greatest of love of Gattuso, who I first met something like many years ago, more than 3 decades ago, when he was a young player at Glasgow Rangers, called up to the Italy under-21 side. His record as a manager has just been extremely patchy. He's made some questionable decisions. He's said some questionable things. But, he just wanted a chance to kind of give it a go again with the national team. And given the way things ended up with Spalletti, really couldn't have been any worse. It's almost easy to say he's a player's coach. He's going to motivate the people. He's going to beat his chest. He's a tough guy. What's encouraging here is he also realized that Italy needed some attacking football. So he went out there. This is arguably Italy's most skillful 11 right now. We can debate Orsolini in there, possibly for Zaccagni, but he came on as a sub anyway. But this is what we got. And 2 center forwards who are physical, who work a lot, and 2 wingers to supply them with crosses, plus Di Marco supplying crosses. It's definitely the way to go in this way. He called it right, and the team responded. Now on to Israel, who they play on Monday in Debrecen in Hungary.
Welcome in to the latest edition of Extra Time. Gab bopping away, of course. Gab very happy because the Eagles won last night. Ali not so happy because the Cowboys lost. And that takes us to our first question, Gab. Is it time to centralise VAR similar to how NFL does it? Instead of a group of officials at every stadium, just have dedicated VAR refs in London looking at every game. By having same group of VAR refs make every decision should create consistency and accuracy in calls.
Well, first of all, the VAR officials aren't in the stadiums. They are in a central location near London for the Premier League, and it's like that for most European leagues. I think the question he's saying, if I can kind of rephrase it, is should we have just one group of officials ruling on everything in every game from a centralized location? I think the difficulty with that is that in the Premier League you might have 6-7 games going on at the same time, and then it becomes very difficult. Also, I think VAR officials are certainly called to look at, maybe they don't intervene as often, but they certainly look at many more situations than the replay officials do in the NFL. And I think thirdly, ultimately, the thing with VAR is that it's the referee on the pitch who makes the final decision, who is responsible. Hopefully sometimes he has more personality than that Rob Jones guy at Stamford Bridge against Fulham last week. But it's important for that reason, I think, to have that direct relationship between the VAR and the referee to show that, I am the individual VAR, you are the referee, we are a team, rather than have sort of this centralized nucleus, which works for the NFL. But I don't think that would quite work for football.
Are we sure that Gab is okay?
Are you worried that he's being held somewhere?
Are we sure? Because when he was talking about Italy, he said Moldova instead of Estonia, and I was thinking maybe he's sending a hint as to where he's being kept. So blink twice if you're in Moldova.
Yeah.
Blink twice if you're in Moldova.
Gab, where are you?
I don't know, but I hear Chisinau is a lovely city this time of year.
Right.
No, I'm not. I'm right here. I just got a new setup.
There we go.
I
How
got to
much
set
is
up
the
my
ransom?
background. Give me time. Come on, man.
Let's all very much move on.
You need another new setup then.
Are you guys concerned that these other top European leagues are seemingly becoming finishing schools for players so clubs can sell them to the Premier League for big money? I feel this is a good one for you, Gab.
Look, it's the same thing. It doesn't. How the sausage is made in terms of the money flows only concerns to me insofar as stability, the stability, the viability, the sustainability of the game. I would become concerned, I think most people would become concerned if we see a situation where Premier League teams just go and dominate in European leagues time and again, in European competitions, where they just flatten everybody and win everything. And then at that point, it becomes a problem if Fulham's budget is bigger than that of Bayern Munich or Juventus or Real Madrid or whatever. But we're not there yet. We are not there yet. Results in the last few years show this. Yes, the Premier League is the best league in the world, and they sit atop the UEFA rankings. But guess what? They're not twice as good as number 2. So even though they have twice as much revenue as number 2, so I think that's when it becomes a concern. Otherwise, I think you can live with it. You have to be aware of the reasons behind it. In fact, I wrote a very interesting column on that very subject, which you can go and check out on the website. If you
There you go. You can go and check that out, Frank.
No.
Wow.
You can at least lie, Frank.
I know. How are you, Frank? I don't have many questions for you, so I'll ask you how you are.
I'm fine. I just came back from Berlin. I went to work. And really enjoy Berlin. I go there. I try to, as a tourist, the city better. So it's always a very good time.
We always discuss food. What do you make of the food in Germany? Are you a schnitzel fan? Sauerkraut?
Oh no, I try. No. I know some good restaurants now that I go with some friends, and the food is good. It's a worldwide kind of food.
Right, so not German is what you're
not
suggesting.
German.
Wow.
No, of course not. And it wouldn't be English. And it wouldn't be English. I think you guys have more skills on some other stuff than food. But we managed to have good food.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Gab, who would you give the Harry Potter Transfer Award to? A transfer so unlikely the agent needed to pull a rabbit out of a hat to get it done.
Okay, I was sent this question earlier. I did have time to prepare. My reason on this, it's not that the transfer itself is unlikely, it's the way it transpired. And I'm going to mention Yohan Wissa moving to Newcastle United. Again, not that weird that he should move, but everything about this move, from the fact that, he announced that he had a year left on his contract. He's 28, maybe even 29 years old now. And Newcastle made an initial offer that they thought was right. This is a generous offer for a player his age who, with all due respect, is Yohan Wissa, 25 million. And Brentford say no. And then, he starts tantruming and saying he wants to move. He's not going to sign a new contract. And then it turns into a game of chicken. And it's a stare down. And then you've got Isak bubbling in the background. And then in the end, Newcastle come out, and I think in the end the announced fee was in excess of 55 million, which is just enormous. And I think if you're Brentford, you really pulled a Harry Potter situation here, because the guy could have just sat, you could have lost him on a free in a year, you stuck to your guns, you turned down that 25 million, which I think was a great price for Yohan Wissa, and now you got more than 2.5 times that. So well done.
There you are, Wissa from Gam. I'm going to throw João Felix in, as always, because I think it's quite incredible that he keeps still getting big moves considering what we've seen from him or not seen him lately.
Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, Nico Jackson.
A long-term deal with Chelsea, and then it's like, well, he's run out of life at Chelsea. Where are you going to end up? Bayern Munich. What?
Yeah, Frank knows some nice restaurants in Germany.
Yes, absolutely, he does. Not the German one. Every other restaurant.
Not in Munich.
Every other restaurant.
Anyone you'd like to throw in, Stevie?
There was an almost Harry Potter, wasn't there? Raheem Sterling to West Ham.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it didn't happen, but...
Right, well, that's not really the question.
I just said it was almost.
Can I randomly throw a name here? David Mulugeta.
Oh.
He is the agent of Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, star for the Cowboys.
NFL.
Okay.
Right. This man wasn't even in conversations with Jerry Jones, apparently, the owner of the Cowboys. And somehow, they made a deal work out where his client is now getting paid $185 million, and the Cowboys are waiting on draft picks 2026 and 2027.
This feels personal, really, more than actually what we're talking about.
He's not happy, Cam.
No, there we are. Wow. Okay.
Hey, have they caught Jalen Hurts yet? Nah, from last night? They're still chasing him or what?
Ali, this is soccer. Calm down.
My bad.
It's all right.
You mentioned the Cowboys earlier.
You know how Newcastle
It's all right. It's all right. Look, another question that's not for Frank. Stevie, would you like to ask first? And Stevie would like. Stevie, who do you think will be Liverpool's top scorer this season?
Ooh.
You have a bet.
Yeah, you got to go with Salah.
Whoa.
You have to go with Salah.
Really?
Yeah.
You got a bet with Shaka, obviously, that Ekitike will score more than João Pedro.
Yeah, and that was before they signed Isak.
The bet was still stands.
Well, I made it, so of course it stands. But
Yeah.
at that particular time, I didn't think Isak was going to be signing.
That's
Right.
an asterisk. Put an asterisk
So-
on it.
But I've committed, so I'm going to have to stick with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But I'll go with Salah.
Salah. Who are you going to go for, Frank?
Well, we all know that the only one who's sure to play every game will be Mo Salah. The other, we don't know what's going to happen, between Gakpo, Isak, and Ekitike. You would have thought that Ekitike would have a chance to score many goals, but I know now, will he play, or will he be on the bench? Will he only play in the Cup League and substitute Isak? I don't know. I think it's a... I have to say the signing of Isak was very strange for me when you see what Ekitike was capable of doing, but whatever. Maybe it's a short-term thinking that I had comparing to what the Liverpool ball was capable of doing. But yeah, I'm with Stevie. I think I would go with Mo Salah.
Ali, what was worse, the Suarez spitting incident or the Jalen Carter spitting incident at the Eagles game last night? Of course, the first play.
Well,
I never saw that.
So it's the first play, isn't it?
even before.
Yep. Jalen Carter, who is one of the big stars of the
Right,
Eagles.
so defensively for the Eagles, and Gab can back me up on this, Jalen Carter is a difference maker for his team.
Yeah.
And so he decides to get close to the huddle of the Dallas Cowboys and have a very up close and personal conversation with Dak Prescott. And that evolved, or devolved, however you want to look into it, into a big old loogie right onto the chest of Dak Prescott. Now, there's some video ahead of that where Dak Prescott is spitting towards the ground, but in the direction of Jalen Carter and looking at Jalen Carter. Apparently, that was an invitation for Jalen Carter to then come over and spit at Dak Prescott. So Luis Suarez had at least played the game. Jalen Carter had not even played it down.
How long will he be banned for? We obviously discussed Suarez's...
I don't think the ban would be anywhere near what it should be for Luis Suarez, or what it will be for Luis Suarez, given the fact the amount of games that are played in MLS as compared to the amount of games that are played in the NFL. So it would be less. I don't even think that he's going to be banned. I don't think that exists. I don't think he's going to be banned for the spitting. He may be fined heavily, but I don't think he'll be banned. And the argument they will make is that he's already been banned in that he didn't play the game at all.
Wow. Gab, what do you make of it?
No, I agree. I mean, certainly the talk in Philadelphia Sports Radio today was about how he kind of already served a 1-game ban by getting himself kicked out of the game. 10 seconds into it. I think to my knowledge, the Seattle Sounders staff guy didn't spit in Luis Suarez's general direction. So to me, that's the main difference. Obviously, look, both those things, they're awful. In Suarez's case, all I can say is, well, at least he didn't go and bite anybody like the guy likes to do and has done many times in the past. So maybe Suarez is evolving from his previous state. Jalen Carter obviously needs to dial it down. And this is what I don't understand at all, right? So Dak Prescott, if you feel so disrespected by Dak Prescott because he spits on the ground in your general direction, kind of Evangelos Marinakis style, dude, you're a football player. Get after Dak Prescott. Stomp on Dak Prescott's head. Turn him into a little puddle of oil. You have so many chances to get even during the game in a legal way. There aren't many professions which allow you to do that. And you know you can do that because the Cowboys' offensive line stinks. They have 3 guys named Tyler, one worse than the other. You can get at him. But instead, by spitting on him, when all the cameras are out there, you let your team down. And it was frankly really, really embarrassing. And you know what? Honestly, it's not going to happen. But if he doesn't get a ban of another game, I think the Eagles should ban him for 1 game, just to say, we're not going to tolerate this. Hopefully not the Chiefs game. Hopefully ban him for a game against somebody bad. But still, really, really bad.
Philly Sports Radio continues after these messages. Frank, what do you make? Did you hear our Luis Suarez debate?
Yeah. I followed you guys at the beginning of the show, and I don't know that guy. I knew that guy had too much teeth, but I didn't know that he had too much saliva as well. And really,
he plays for Arsenal, doesn't he?
I don't know. I don't know what I have to think about that guy. That guy was a fantastic player. What he did for Barcelona and Liverpool was great, but you have to stop, man, being, that's stupid. I mean, biting people, spitting on people,
yes.
Come on, and after saying, I'm sorry, my family, I want to apologize. Shut up, stop doing that, at first sight, I don't know. Just think once, just before doing those stupid things.
Frank, you weren't in our Pochettino conversation. In case you missed this, Mauricio Pochettino did an interview on Spanish TV, forgot that it was basically going to be broadcast or it was going to get picked up in the US as well, because he was asked this question: what's expected of you in the US for the World Cup as the host nation? This is Mauricio Pochettino, the manager of the US men's national team's response: I can't score goals. I can't score goals myself, nor can I defend. Frank, what do you make of that?
Well, I want to think it's a joke. I think he wanted to, because he was speaking Spanish, maybe he thought it was nice to maybe tease the players or tease, the question in a way, but he never thought, that would be badly received by the audience, because the guy only says, well, there is nothing I can do. They are crap, and what can I do? That's what it is. That's what he says, And he has a short-term, things to do with the national team, and he's just saying, well, I'm going to be on the bench. I'm going to look at those players who are so bad, and there's nothing much I can do. So sorry about that, but you're going to get what you deserve. Thank you.
Okay, Stevie, start, bench or drop. As a player, what's more frustrating during a match? A teammate having a shocker, your manager making bad decisions, or the referee losing control of the game?
Ooh, I think your manager making bad calls.
Right.
Everybody on the field at some stage has a shocker. And so we've all been there, so we all understand it. So, yeah, that would be the least of your worries. I think the manager making bad calls consistently drives you insane.
Have you experienced that?
Not really, but it would. I can't imagine. Like can you imagine a substitution, right?
Yeah.
You're desperate for a goal, and he does something like
bring on
a midfielder.
Bring on David James.
Yeah, brings on David James to score a goal.
Yes.
I mean that you just lose respect.
Yeah.
With every really poor decision, just another little bit disappears in the respect factor. The referees losing control of matches, that was a normal thing,
right?
To be quite honest, referees.
I don't think so.
Well, Frank, you want to see some of the guys.
How would you have it? What order are you having it?
Some of the guys I had, Frank. I mean, we knew exactly what they were going to be like.
The teammate having a shocker, I'm with Stevie, we are ready for that, and it's not a problem. But I will put the referee losing control of the game as the most frustrating, because I imagine in '98 final that the referee makes a mistake, lose control of the game, and you lose 1-0 because of a referee mistake. That's not, for me,
final?
that's not part of the game.
What final are you talking about? FA Cup.
Well, it can be let's say the cup final at Wembley in '97, which whatever final you want, because I know what you are trying to do right now.
I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I know you. But I would have been resentful for the rest of my life, Gianluca made a mistake in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, Gianluca Vialli, when he substituted a player, and we lost that game. But it's part also of the game where the coach has suddenly something that he thinks are going to be good, and you cannot be resentful about that. You lose, but we lose together. And I never felt like, we should have won the Champions League if he didn't make that mistake. It's part of the game. It's
sounds
absolutely
like
part of it. You can feel bad. But you can be a little bit frustrated. But comparing to somebody who doesn't belong to your side, to your team, I think it's nothing much.
So Frank,
you have the deciding.
Hold on, Frank. So tell me how frustrated would you be then when you're playing a Super Cup final in Turin against the home side, and something's going to go wrong, and guess what? You lose the game because the referee dodgy decision, and it's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, in the 80s, it happened all the time. We knew referees were going to either do it on purpose or they would lose control. It wasn't unusual. That's why I'm saying the manager being so bad, for me, is more unusual, because the other one's going to happen.
Frustration.
That's just the worst example of the Super Cup final.
I hear you, Stevie, but I think that overall, thinking that you lost the game because of a stupid decision from a ref is more frustrating than a substitution. It's what I feel. I agree with you, or I accept your. We can accept to disagree. We can agree to disagree. But really, for me, a referee making a mistake is much more frustrating for me than anything else.
I think the frustrating part, and Stevie, I understand where you're coming from with this, is that the manager making a bad call is something that is under your control.
Right.
The manager has that sort of power, and it is upon that person to make the correct call for your team. So the situation is under your control. A referee missing a call, you can't control that. That is the responsibility of the referee, and you learn to live with the bad calls. And while I understand that a bad call is incredibly frustrating, when you think of your most frustrating losses is self-inflicted wounds, self-inflicted mistakes, things that didn't need to happen. And a major mistake from a manager that affects the outcome of a game is something that it hangs on you for a long, long time.
That's it, Gab, International Weekend. What are you doing, mate? Anything exciting?
I'm going to start hanging some stuff up on the wall.
Wow, I like
neat
it like that.
trinkets and memorabilia, but I'll probably end up putting the company backdrop.
Ah, beautiful. Where are you, Frank? What are you doing?
I'm in Paris and nothing much to do. No, nothing much to do. I'm
Get the kit on,
gonna
walk
wait
around.
for Tuesday to see France playing Iceland. No. I'm ready. I'm starting rehearsing my new play on Monday, so I'm learning my line again.
So you say you're going to the France game?
No. No. Leave me alone.
No, I think that'd be nice. We can sort that out for you. Ekatike, your friend could get you some tickets. That is it. We are done. We, of course, will be here. Ooh, working.
Professionals.
Yeah. ESPN FC returns to your screens tomorrow then. Goodbye.